Yo, we're back. It's just starting to rain here, so that's pretty cool. Today I'm going to show you my lucrative setup to where I get all my sweet tea. Get this all set up. Oh no. My rear defroster fell off. Let's see if I can put that back on without breaking it the rest of the way. Let's get this cleaned out and get down to... Why is my aluminum rusting? The best way that I've found to pull fuel out of these is pop the floor open right here, pull the fuel sending unit out, and suck it out of there with a big straw. You'll notice this car once used to be a really nice red before it sat outside for 36 years. Let's go ahead and check if I actually have that size, and we'll do this quickly. Otherwise, we're going to end up doing this by hand with Allen wrenches, and that's going to be great. If I remember right, it was this size. I remembered wrong. And of course, the size under that is not here, because I am great at owning tools. So, we're going to do it this way. As you can tell, these 36-year-old bolts came out pretty easy. I may or may not have been in here once before. I may or may not have killed this car at 1 in the morning in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, well, why won't it start? I fixed it. I fixed everything. It runs great. And then I pull open the floor because I knew this existed here. And I was like, the fuel pump. Look at all these wires. And start zapping them with 12 volts. Turns out every time I hit it, all the lights in the car turn on and my dash gauges start going. Absolutely wild. That's when I realized, hey, wait a minute. That's my fuel sending unit. Oh god. That's only supposed to be 5 volts. I shouldn't have done that. Well, one fuel sending unit later, I now have like 4 spares, and my dash gauges work again. I know when my car is empty and when my car is full. Surprisingly, I didn't ruin the gauge cluster or these little tiny wires. These things are small. Probably should have looked at that when I was like, oh yeah, fuel pump. Let's zap the hell out of it. Get these off of here real gently. There. Pull that up out of the way real nice, and then put it even more in the way. Now I gotta buy another one of these gaskets. Oh, I forgot about that. So when you pull these fuel sending units out, the way that they keep the fuel from sloshing around and changing your fuel gauge going all over the place every time you hit a bump, which I'm sure is probably how other manufacturers do it, but I've never pulled another sending unit before. It's encased inside like 3 tubes in here, and then it has the float. And there's a little tiny porthole, and it takes about 10 minutes to drain. Hopefully that stays there. The first time I did this, I just ripped it out. I'm like, oh god, it's pissing everywhere. There's fuel all over, help. So just get this plugged in, and this plugged in here. And then I guess we'll clean out my fuel well. And we'll start getting tanks to put in there. In theory, I have enough fuel storage to drain this tank. Alright, let's check if this is still going. No? Oh wow. I don't remember this being that full. Alright. That might be an issue. Please stop rolling all over my car. Gotta find something to set that in. I don't remember the tank being completely full. So that's nice. Let's see, how's this thing work? In, out. I'm gonna take that means out of what I'm pumping from and into my storage tank. Well, since I'm just oxygenating this fuel, I'm gonna say that I was wrong. Oh god, just drip gasoline everywhere. Get that in there. There we go. How many gallons a minute is this? Does the box say? Includes 51 inches of long hose. So yeah, I couldn't wait. I decided that I'm gonna go ahead and pull the fuel out for this video, maybe touch on something else in here if I find anything. Yeah, hopefully this video ends up being better than the first one. I know the first one was a little rough. I haven't filmed anything in years, so I'm trying to get back into it, hoping that I can get the channel to take off. It'd be pretty nice. Show people how to work on the 944, talk about building engines, show you how to build engines, work on engines. I'm gonna try and build a race engine to go in this. I've been doing a ton of research on what I'm gonna build, how I'm gonna build it, and what engine's going in here. So yeah, if you think out of any of the ideas here, which one you'd like to see for the next video, then make sure you comment below. I don't know if I brought them across clearly enough in the last video. It was kind of gibberish the whole time. So we're taking care of the gas in this one. I'm thinking I want to pull the transmission out. I think that would be a good whole video. I've never pulled the transmission out of this car. It's kind of an ordeal, but it would also make fitting up the engine a lot easier. So if you want the next video to be the transmission work, comment that below. Or if you think I should clean up the interior. Not sure if you can see it there, but it's pretty bad. So yeah, clean up the interior in there, see what needs to be done, because there's a lot of work that I need to do for the back seats. I have the dash that I need to repair. It's full of cracks. It's pretty bad. And then another video, I could go over how I'm mounting the new engine, the machining I did, and designing the final adapter. Well, actually, there's two. I need to get the torque tube to mate up to my bell housing adapter, and then I need a spline adapter. Alright, well, this tank is about to overflow here. I should clean the interior up because it's pretty nasty in there. If you want to see me work on the rear seats, do some sheet metal fabrication, or finish the restoration of the dash, or if you want me to get an engine to actually bolt to the front end of this thing, because I really want an engine to bolt to the front end. It'd be pretty cool. I'm really excited for that. As long as I don't go too crazy with the power, I think I can put an engine in here, get it started reasonably soon, and drive it. I want to drive this thing so bad. I haven't driven this car in years. Sure, you saw there before the cataclysm of the pump failing the first time, where the hose blew off the bottom. I filled up a small sample. I'm actually amazed. I figured, with how long this has been sitting here, that was going to be way more orange. It smells a little off, but it still looks good. I'm sure all of the compounds have evaporated out, but it's not contaminated, which is pretty sick. So I guess that means all of my seals are pretty good. The tank's almost dry. I just gotta fish this hose down into the reserve well, the bottom here. I think this car has a 2-gallon reserve. Alright, so as you can see, I had to snake it down into that hole, and it looks kind of like the hole's lined up from the top here, but it's about 3 inches to the left of this opening. And then it goes down another like 8 inches down there. So let's get the rest of this fuel out of here. Well, I knew I should have bought another 5-gallon can. So all I have is a half full 1-gallon can over here, and there's still quite a bit of fuel in here. So I think, if I'm remembering correctly, these cars hold 15 gallons. That's all the gas I'm able to pump out of the car today. I'm impressed with how good this fuel looks. It doesn't look to have any water contamination. The color's about right. It's pretty oxidized. It smells kind of off. But if I had like a Honda Civic laying around here, I know what I'd be fueling it up with. Well guys, that's it for pumping the fuel out of here. My spare tire well is a little bit cleaner than when I started, which is unfortunate. When the pump flew off the other time while I was pumping, I ended up hosing down all those wires and the plastic back there. I hope that survives. I'm going to be really upset if that goes bad. Here's all the fuel we took out. Now I'm going to have to go find somewhere to dispose of this. Alright guys, if you liked the video, please make sure to subscribe. Also, I would appreciate if you commented down below if I should work on the cross member and the steering system. I've got new coolers that need to go into the front of the car. We're going to replace the factory Porsche steering cooler. I've got a big unit that's going to go in there. Need to cut up the bumper a little, design some ducting to pull air in up into the new radiator. I've got these hoses that need to be pulled out. I've got a new power steering pump that I'd like to put in here. Another thing that I could work on, get all the suspension pulled out. I need to pull the front wheels, shocks, control arms, get this cross member out and those engine mounts, because I'm going to be putting a new whole cross member in there. I need to fab up the new cross member and design where the control arms are going to mount. Maybe I can push the wheels out a little bit, give this car a bit more stance. As you can see, the wheels turned a little bit, but it's kind of turtled up in there. Finding wheel spacers for this year of 944 is a little difficult because the way the front wheel bearings are done. Another thing I could do is work on the hydraulic system. This needs to come out. There's going to be a cylinder head somewhere right in here, so that might be in the way. I'm thinking about doing a Tesla brake booster and get electric brakes. If not, I'll try and keep this. I kind of like vacuum brakes. The electric ones are a little spongy. Can work on pulling the fuel lines. Those need to go. They're going to get replaced. Another thing that could be worked on is getting the torque tube out and pull the transmission out. Could do a whole video on pulling the transmission out and cleaning up this torque tube, getting the exhaust out of the way, getting this heat protectant out, because I'm going to put a new one in, fix some of those brake lines back in there, clean up the firewall a little bit. It's all dirty, covered in glue from the factory. Another thing we could do is clean up this interior. It's nasty. I've got a dashboard that needs to go back in there. It's all cracked, and I'm halfway through repairing it, but kind of stopped. It's been sitting about a year. Another thing, if you can see back in there, there's buckets where a back seat used to be. Could work on relocating the battery back there, and all the electronics. The ECU is going to go there, the fuse panel. Set that stuff up. General interior work. Get the passenger seat pulled out. Start working on putting the new passenger seat in. Fix the doors. Fix the windows back here. I need to pull this again, which is really disappointing, because you have to take the glass out to pull those side panels. and just clean the whole car up.